Very good morning and a warm welcome to one and all present over your teachers. I hope everyone is able to hear me and see me clearly. Thank you so much for joining another Super Sunday workshop. And this time we are getting into psychometric analysis part 2. Last time we got a very overarching understanding of what psychometric analysis could be. Today we'll be trying to get into the details and little technicalities of psychometry in as such. Psycho is all about the brain's functionality. Metric is all about measurement of it. But what are we really trying to measure? Are we trying to measure the knowledge? Are we trying to measure the skills? Or are we trying to measure the attitude part of it? Well, the focus here is on the attitude part and not really the knowledge and skill to a very large extent. And attitude is one of the most complex, fundamental learning attribute which needs to be decoded. And with multiple theories, the perceptions keep changing. So today we are going to talk about those perceptions. And those perceptions lead us to something called as a personality. The personality of a particular person leads to something called as the character. And if that character is really fit for a particular role, that's what psychometry is all about. Sometimes we have a certain character and people will say that, hey, this character is probably not suitable for this particular role. You could have been a better, you know, a PT teacher. Your character resembles more of a counselor, something like that. So when they mention that, what are they really looking at? They're looking at the personality. Well, in technical details, there is something which is very nice called as traits, traits. That's what we're going to look into in detail. I was surprised to see that there are a lot of inspirations of psychology study from the Indian books as well, which includes learnings from Rabindranath Tagore's books, which includes Swami Vivekananda's understanding of personality and traits, which comes under behavior science, and even Mahatma Gandhi, when he was talking about the Vardha system, they mentioned one very nice point. It is not about just the knowledge and skills; it's also about the personality and the traits, and it's mandatory, important for all the citizen of a particular country at the time, India, need to focus on their personalities apart from their academics as well. So today's session is going to be a function of a little bit of reading here and there from there. And today will be the second and the last part of psychometric analysis. We're going to focus on the analysis part, that is the measurement part. So I would request all the teachers right after the session, with whatever jargons or the key terms that we are using, try to explore further if you get time to understand and get inspired and be more surprised and have that joy of understanding yourself more. A lot of enlightenment for me during this particular process, and I loved understanding who am I really. So that's going to be one really nice part today. So let's quickly get onto the session and understand that particular part. So for that, I would like to share my screen. This is the second session in 2026, and I'm really happy to see a consistent participation even at session number 147. Thank you so much, teachers, principals, and vice principals who are continuously sharing the information of Super Sunday Workshop to your respected teachers. To maintain the sanctity of this information that's provided on these sessions, we ensure that will not deviate from the topic to any other agenda of branding or advertisement and things like that predominantly. So there'll be this questionnaire that'll be coming right after the session where you'll have to answer more than 7 questions correct. Many of you are doing that, you know that very well. In fact, I've seen some YouTube channels of teachers right after the Super Sunday workshop. They'll pick up the questions of the reflection form. Somehow they get the form before, I don't know how. I need to ask my team members, and they put the answers on their YouTube channel so that people can score more than 7, and then you can get your certificates if your score is more than 70%. You don't have to strain so much searching for the answers. You go for the first attempt. If you get wrong answers, you'll understand what are the right answers. Come back, use another mail ID, fill the form again. You'll easily get more than 7. Yeah, it's easy. But today's reflection form is quite complex. Let me tell you, it is scenario based. Only when you listen to the session 1 or 2 times, I believe these questions could be answered. Somehow today, I think the team members from SuperTeacher did not wake up on time. They're like, okay, let me challenge the teachers today. Well, the topic in itself is like that. So let's see. Today's topic is going to be quite challenging. So for that, I'll be trying to be like, I'll try to be as slow as possible. And at the same time, give multiple examples and analogies. Let's understand this one by one. The first thing first, what exactly is psychometry? So for example, by the way, last let me have a quick recap. This is what we did. Why do two teachers train in the same subject teach the same lesson very differently? We understood, is it knowledge? May not be. Experience? Maybe. Personality? May not be. Beliefs? Maybe. Something like that. Maybe, may not be. There's a lot of factors influencing why two teachers coming from the same background, same subject knowledge, uh, understanding the same beard, but still having different portrayal of being a teacher. So what creates the difference? So we call them as invisible factors. Then we understood psychometric analysis is the scientific measurement of psychological attributes or psychological constructs. We'll talk about it. So thinking style, behavioral tendencies, preferences, abilities, we'll understand in a proper form of layers in a hierarchical structure today, giving you more clarity on what exactly psychometry is all about. Then we understood the concept of cognitive abilities. It can be through knowledge, personality and behavioral traits, more of attitude, situational judgment based on knowledge, skills, and attitude. You come to a decision. So, what exactly do you do? Uh, Putting you into the spot of dilemmas, and that giving the clarity of what exactly kind of the person you are. And then we got into few questions, understanding pattern recognition, logical reasoning, estimation, and these traits of you looking at a particular problem. It's not about the right answer, but it's about more about the approach towards the question, the approach towards the assessment item. Now, when I speak about it here, I would also like to tell you something very important. Psychometry is never about right and wrong answer, and it's not a momentary test. Imagine, Bhavna ma'am is getting into a psychometry test. It is of 2.5 to 3 hours, and right after completing her exam, she's getting a result. Is that the standard result talking about her personality or character? No, not really. In fact, the more the number of psychometric tests can happen at specific intervals, that can yield us better results of who we are as a person and then what can be changed as an attribute. In one exam, it's just the direction towards what you really want to achieve and where you're standing right now from personality perspectives. That's what we're going to get into detail of or deeper of psychometry. So it's going to be on how psychometric information is structured. Is there really a layer on understanding somebody's personality? Why behavior alone is misleading? See, you can't, for example, somebody's dressed really well, they talk really well. Does that really mean, you know, they are so called? I mean, I'm just exaggerating, good man or a woman? Good is a very broad term over here. You can't categorize that. So behavioral mannerisms alone, does not reciprocate somebody's character. So how teachers should interpret psychometric data is another important area that we're going to get into. It's on the clarity, not on judgment. So it's on the clarity of a performance of somebody's behavior and not really conclusion, that is called as judgment. So psychometry helps us understand teachers, not evaluate them. So this slide is right in the beginning only to tell you that psychometric analysis need not be a scale for hiring a particular teacher. Not that it has to be completely ignored, but this definitely plays an important role. But it need not be one alone step for hiring a particular teacher or judging a teacher on who they really are. So in case in this particular session, if anybody's thinking like, let me use psychometric analysis test and understand what kind of standards does this teacher possess. Well, this is a long-term process and it cannot be the only result to govern somebody's character or trait. Let's understand this in detail. So for that, there are some educators and psychologists whom you can refer to. Today, I don't want to talk about too many people. It'll definitely confuse us. There's this person called as Gordon Allport. He spoke about a person's behavior is a function of their traits, attributes. What is traits? We'll talk about it. Cattle words. So cattle, what he did is he took the dictionary, Cambridge and Oxford dictionary, and he collected some words that describe a particular person. So he's an enthusiastic person. He's a good man. He's multiple words. And you know how many words he collected? If you want, you can guess and put it on the chat. He collected 4,500 words that describe a particular person from the dictionary. Very simple. I'll take a dictionary, I'll see whichever words are talking about somebody's character. I'll understand that human beings fit under these 4,500 words. Then there will multiple people, which includes Ising as well, who said that no, 4,500 words cannot be distinct to each other. A lot of them are synonymous to each other. So two words talking about the same thing. So what he did, 4,500 words, he concised to 16 traits. That's it. Only 16. So every human being can fall under only these 16 traits. Then people later realized, oh my God, this cannot be the case because this particular language, so called English, does not have certain words to describe certain attribute which is there in some other language. That means the description of a personality is also a function of a language, and you need to find words. So much complex our human brain is. So they understood that. Then came ocean theory, which categorized those 16 into only five major areas. What exactly they are, I'll tell you. One is called as openness. I think you're able to see the screen right on the screen. Openness, and then right after that, conscientiousness. Conscientiousness. This is O C, then E. Extraversion or extroversion, and then see A, agreeableness, and then finally neuroticism. So this is basically, ocean theory or cano theory. People call it as CANOE. That could be there. But the actual, layer of red and blue is like the spectrum is from neuroticism to conscientiousness. So what it really means, let us understand this. Openness, high and low. So what they mean is a person who's willing to learn or willing to be open about reception. It comes under the affective domain. I think you know it. Reception, receiving from the environment. It could be from a person, it could be from nature, it could be from anything that you get or receive through your sense organs. So it's like high means they're really good with the thinking process. They've considered everything. Low means they're not really flexible. They're mostly close-minded people. So openness is one of the category of a character of a person as per ocean theory. What is next? Next is conscientiousness. Now, what they mean is when conscientiousness is there, you're alert about what you're doing. So sometimes you might know that when you're going to a class and conduct a session, uh, you don't really prepare for the chapter on that particular day. You just go with the flow of your years of experience. There are certain dialogues as a teacher that you remember for that particular chapter that will keep repeating for the rest of 20 years or 25 years. That means you have got the grip on the content so much that it has gone to the spine part of your brain. That means it's more of a reflex action, and it's very difficult to change. It's very difficult to change. So conscientiousness is all about alertness, towards I want to do this in the best manner, and whatever you're speaking, you're aware about it. That's called as consciousness. It's not like whatever you're saying, which is like the mechanism of what you've done in the past for quite a long time. That is not good consciousness. It's like it came out of habit. It came out of practice. Here it is not like that. You keep reinventing. You're aware about what you're speaking. You're very confident on what you're speaking. So that's high consciousness. Low is about you get easily distracted. You're there on the stage teaching students something, and suddenly there's some person from the office coming and saying that, excuse me ma'am, I have an announcement to the class. Excuse me ma'am, the principal is calling, I do not know why. Immediately the teachers get distracted. Now that means you've got little poor conscientiousness, something like that. If you're not able to get distracted, you're still able to continue. Some teachers, I remember, they'll close the door so that no announcements come inside. What these principals have done, they started installing speakers in all the classroom. Yeah, they wanted to distract through the probably group D employees, but now they're like, I'll come through the speakers. Now, how you manage your class, let's see, something like that. No, it's not an attempt towards that, but still, distractibility, irresponsibility, rashness, this is coming under consciousness. See how nicely they're categorizing. The third is extroversion. Extroversion is about um, something like extrovert. No, not really. It is more about showing your presence. Ma'am, let me, put this point. You remember whenever you go to the class, sometimes there are chances that you forgot your duster or the chalk. Immediately there'll be two, three children who will become hyperactive and be like, ma'am, I'll get it from the nearest class. Or I'll go to the staff room and bring your duster. I'll go to the staff room and bring your marker, something like that. They'll not even wait for your permission. They'll just jump off the bench and then they'll start running. This particular attribute is extroversion. Yeah. Many children will be like, this fellow will run, so let me keep quiet. I'll sit. Somebody will help. They also called bystander psychology or something like that. Bystander, it's like when somebody meets with an accident and you continue moving, ignoring that thing, thinking that somebody else will take care. So I'm forgetting, it's something called as bystanding or bystander's logic or something like that. So extroversion is about that particular attribute. willingness. I'll do this right away. Here I am jumping. Very important attribute. On the other side, which is low, is like, I don't want to talk to people. Somebody else will take care of it. I'll mind my own business. So it's important for us to create. Now, here's something very important. Teachers, do not come to a conclusion that openness, consciousness, extraversion, whatever you're talking about, it should always be in high level. No, everybody will have all of these things in certain quantity and number. And you know what? The mix of all these things plus the knowledge and skills that you have is actually called as competency, and that is why it is very different and difficult. So here extraversion, I think, I hope you got to understand. Next is agreeableness. Now agreeableness, it is a very, there'll be always some set of teachers in the school or set of students, whatever the principal says, the teacher will be like, yes ma'am, I'll do it. Yes sir, I'll do it. Why? Think, wait, the principal can get wrong. In fact, the principals out there want some teachers to say no. They want, like, let the teacher say no and come up with a better idea. That is called as agreeableness. So it cannot be always yes to everything. Sometimes it can be no as well. So just because somebody's saying no doesn't mean they're not, bad or something like that, or good doesn't mean like that. So again, so it's like submissiveness, selflessness, gullibility, all these are being vulnerable. Now just because somebody's agreeing to everything, that doesn't mean they're bad or they're good. And even in the vice versa, man, deceitfulness, manipulativeness, callousness, all these comes under low category. So O, C, E, A, and finally N, neuroticism. This is mostly like the panicky behavior. Neuroticism directly is controlled by the brain, where it is talking about, I am all these attribute of, let me give a try, let me try this. It's coming from risk taking ability. It comes from experience of toughness. Sometimes I think you might know, the people with the most tough background, so-called tough background. I remember seeing a college going student in my college, who used to have this newspapers and milk and all these things. He has to put it in the morning from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock in all the household in the neighborhood as a part-time job. 6 o'clock, he need to get ready to catch the bus at 7 o'clock and comes to the college at around 8:30. Now this is a real, like, regular habit for this person. And when somebody talks about their difficulty, I have to wake up in the morning at around 7 o'clock, have breakfast, which is not really good, and then come back to the class. In the hostel, it is so difficult. And then when you hear the story of the other persons, then you're like, your problems are nothing in front of them. Now it is not about the comparison of two backgrounds, it's a comparison with the self. The ability to say that, I can manage these things. I've seen tougher things. And it's not like all the time you keep rewinding on what happened in the past for yourself. You know, consciously, ki, this is not difficult at all for me. That is neuroticism, high and low. So yeah, this is called as the ocean theory. So there are multiple theories. We are not getting into all the theories one by one. We are going to talk about a combined version of all of these things in a very generalistic manner, because psychometric analysis is not completely foolproof. Accuracy results have maximum touch to 70 to 75%. That is the reason multiple tests lead to better results. That 70 to 75 can lead up to probably 85 or 90, only with years of practice. I'll repeat it, not days, years of practice. Then Swami Vivekananda and many more people spoke about personality. That's it. This is the base theory of what exactly psychometry is all about. So when all these personalities that people are talking about, we're going to measure them. So if you're going to measure them, a quality getting measured in the form of quantity is a very difficult process. And that's why they call it as, Likert scales. I'll talk about it. Look at this. So here in this case, psychometry is the science of measuring psychological constructs. Some of them are like emotions, beliefs, motivations, tendencies. I'll give you one very nice example. For that, I would like to stop sharing the screen, teachers, so that you see me properly. And if you have a query, you can put it on the chat then and there. So I think, have you come across the scenario that we all gel with, yeah, that's called as big five personality traits. Thank you so much, Vali ma'am. So we all have this, you know, birds of same feather flock together. Have you heard about it? Somehow you would see that we always get along with people who are like us. And what really happens is you get into the zone of, I like Ranjita, I like Pushpa, so they are my gang members. And you have the, like, Uma and Shabana are my second layer circles or second circle friends. And then again, you have got, Anurita and Radha, the third layer. So there is probably fourth. Radhikeshwari is not in my list at all, something like that. Now, what we do actually is the people who resemble us, the character that you have in you, when you see on the others, in the others, your emotions pour out both in the positive and the negative direction. Seriously. So when you look at someone and you're like, hey, this guy is also like me, never wakes up on time. Let me be friends with him. Now, what really happens is when such group of people join together, interact and mingle together, the outcome of that is the same character getting repeated again and again, which again influences you to become more inwards towards that. That means your environment that you're creating for yourself will in turn come back and put you into the same environment again and again, so that you get trapped in that particular circle. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? No, that's not the point over here. It can be good, it can be bad, but the point is the trap of traits. This trap is very important for people to understand. In that particular characteristic, say for example, that group, Vasu and Fatima and probably Rajni and Nidhi, all are there in the same group. So if the character of Vasu matches with Fatima, there are a lot of chances that Fatima, it'll match with Nidhi as well. It'll match with the other person as well. So why? Because it's not because they wanted to be together. It just happens. Why? You resonate the same character again and again, and the gang gets formed. After that, it's like very difficult to come out of that gang and put into others. Now, this cannot be a trait for you to have such kind of character trap within the students. So, as a teacher, what is your ability to come out of that particular trap is again one of the psychometry that needs to be measured. I hope you're able to understand. So, what we're trying to understand over here is the character formation is not a function of your thoughts alone. You need to be really broad minded, a person who can fit into any gang. There'll always be one teacher in the staff room, definitely one teacher in the staff room who will be able to interact with each and every gang flawlessly. With the teachers, with the principal, with the vice principal. Now, just because this teacher is able to do that doesn't mean this teacher is good, and some just because the other people are not able to do doesn't mean they are bad. No, that's not the case at all. But the thing is, having an ability to interact with everyone makes you more broad minded. You remember that openness, agreeableness towards the students, which helps you understand the children better. So it's not just about psychometry analysis of yourself, and make sure that your analysis does not affect the children as well. So that's the reason we talk about it. So psychometry does not measure skills or subject knowledge, just like temperature is measured with a thermometer. Psychological constructs, which are emotions, beliefs, motivations, tendencies because of yourself and others, are measured with scales. Most of them are called as Likert scales. So they don't ask about numbers. I agree strongly. I don't agree at all. Now, when you purchase something from Amazon, and you're giving a review on Amazon that you give a 5 star, you're saying, I'm extremely happy. And if you give 5 star. On the other hand, there is another person who's giving 5 star again. That person is also happy, but the intensity of happiness of that person and yours can completely be different. So strongly agree according to you is way different from strongly according to me. Now you need to measure that. That measurement is difficult. So let's go understand that in more detail. So for that, so how psychometric questions are created. Okay, just give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm sorry. Okay, you should be able to see the screen in about. I think you're able to see the screen, right? Come on. Yeah, great. We got it. So identify a trait, how psychometric questions are created. Example, emotional regulation. Break it into dimensions, convert dimension into statements, measure degree, not correctness. There are no right or wrong answer in psychometrics. These are the steps. If a principal is watching this and you want to measure some psychometric analysis of a teacher, this is a very broad categorization of writing an assessment item for a teacher. So identify a trait. So the principal or the teacher should know what exactly trait is, and then you need to identify what is required for a teacher. Remember, trait for a teacher will be completely different from trait for a doctor. trait for an astronaut, trait for carpenter. It will be completely different. So for being a teacher, what is the trait? So psychometric analysis should be based on what job are they performing. Nice. That's an important point. Break it into dimensions. Now that trait can have multiple layers. Look at the examples on the right. Identify the construct. So emotional regulation, teacher in classroom. Say for example, the children are shouting, and how well are you able to handle that particular class. So in fact, rather than how are you able to handle the class is the right question. Now break the construct into dimensions. So emotional regulations can have subtopics of emotional awareness, impulse control, response under pressure. Now each of these categorization can have further questions, and all these questions can lead you to a certain conclusion. So convert dimension into statements. So for example, for emotional awareness, I remain calm when students repeatedly interrupt the class. Do you really remain calm when the students interrupt? That's a question. I am able to pause before reacting when I feel irritated. Do you really do that? See, one very key aspect of psychometric analysis is if there are around 100 questions in an exam, psychometric analysis, you will be surprised that those 100 questions are actually only 25 questions. But one question gets repeated at least 4 to 5 times in multiple angles and ways. So question number 4 of that particular psychometric analysis test will be related to question number 96 of the same test. So you might be like, I've answered all the 100 questions absolutely correct. No, it's not about right and wrong at all. It's about the connecting the responses of 4 to 5 questions in the same test. So that's an art of creating psychometric assessment. So I'm unable to continue teaching effectively even after an unexpected disruption. So these three statements are part of one trait. So basically emotional regulation, and but that can have multiple subtopics. Here in this case, emotional awareness, impulse control, response under pressure. And then you have got measure intensity, not correctness. And that is the reason strongly agree, disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree will come into picture. So identify a trait, break it into dimensions, convert dimension into statements, measure degree, not correctness, intensity. There are no right or wrong answers in psychometrics. Okay, so most psychometric tools are like this case example, strongly agree, strongly, the scale, how strongly you feel that this team will win the match, this student will get 100 out of 100, how consistently you respond. So it's like after 1 year, again, the same question asked, if you respond the same, that means you've got great clarity. Yeah, something like that. Psychometrics measures intensity and not accuracy. See, it's intensity and not really accuracy because there's no right and wrong answer. So psychometric interpretation works like individual answers are not interpreted alone. I told you, right? Multiple questions are combined. Patterns across responses matter. In that 3 hours of 100-question exam, in the first 1 hour you behave like that, in second 1 hour you behave like that. Even that can be taken as an analytical report. Scores indicate tendencies, um the ability to do something from imagination perspective. If I had been the pilot, if I had been the principal, if I had been the chairman of the school, tendencies, not reality. So not labels. So psychology is probabilistic and not deterministic. Very important. It's 75% accuracy we were talking about, right? Probably this teacher is like this. With the results, you cannot say that you are like this. No. That is why we told psychometric analysis cannot be a function of somebody's selection as a job as a teacher. No. This cannot be ignored. We need to monitor, but doesn't mean you are a teacher only because of this report of psychometric analysis. Sometimes it takes multiple tests. So this is how interpretation work. Now comes, do psychometric results change with job roles? Absolutely yes. Traits versus roles, core traits remain largely stable. So expression of traits, importance, weightage of traits, interpretation using role based norms. I'll give you one quick example. For example, I have come across this, some teachers, they'll be extremely polite in the class with the students. That's a trait. I'm really polite, and the children are trying to be offensive, still you're like, you're very polite. Then there'll be another teacher coming and telling you, ma'am, you're too polite for this particular child or class. You should not be a max teacher. You should actually be a counselor. Did you understand? The trait of politeness cannot be always necessary at a particular job role. For a certain job role, it is not even required. So what we do as a job, need not be just the income as a work, which could be a regular activity. Sometimes it can need a particular trait and sometimes it cannot. That is the reason it is said that every trait has got its individuality and correctness to it, depending on the scenario. So just because somebody gets angry and short tempered doesn't mean they're bad. Maybe their job requires that. How about that? Now your question will be, which job requires short temperedness? May not be, but having this ability to think that maybe it is required will give you openness. And that's what they're expecting for a teacher. So teachers, there are certain traits that are required. So when psychometric analysis tests are done, it is more about the job role that we actually get into. Let's go to the next one. Core teacher traits. What exactly the teachers should require is emotional regulation, empathy, patience, stress tolerance, assertiveness, adaptability, internal locus of control, including external locus of control. These are certain metrics, or traits that are used to measure your psycho, something like that. You're based on situations. Sometimes you would have come across this. There'll be a picture given to you, and you need to look at the picture and say, does that look like a whale to you in the beginning, or does that look like an elephant to you in the beginning? And you conclude, for me it looks like an elephant, and then immediately there will be a result stating that, hey, if you're seeing elephant, then you are so and so. If you're seeing whale first, then you're so and so, something like that. So yeah, it has to be really, in detail. So traits influence how teachers respond, not what they know. But is the traits the ultimate thing? No. Apart from traits, traits is the topmost layer of somebody's personality. We're coming to the conclusion, we're coming to the most important part, and this is the last aspect of psychometrics. Now, what it means is traits is a function of expression. You can see a person's traits looking at them, the way they behave. But what really matters, how did that trait come into picture? It was because of the previous step called as attitudes and mindsets, which got generated because of experience in life. So traits came out because of your attitudes and mindset, which came out because of your value system in the past, which was taught to you by the teacher, probably your parent. That is why the counselors ask, do you remember how was your childhood? Because that's where the value system actually got formulated. Even in affective domain, they say na, receive, respond, and then the third step itself is valuing, which gets organized, which becomes a character. So motives and values are all about your value system. How did your value system get formulated? It was through the competencies and skills, through behavior and performance. Let us understand this. So the deepest layer of a person's character is behavior and performance. Confusion begins when we mix up these layers. Let's understand the difference quickly under these. So what are traits? Who I am by default. Attitudes and mindsets, how I interpret the situation. Motives and values, why I act. Competencies and skills, what I can actually do. Behavior and performance, what I actually did. Reflection, you keep reflecting on it. Deeper layers influence surface layers. So behavior and performance influence competencies and skills. Competence and skills will influence motives and values. Motives and values will influence attitudes and mindset, which will influence the trait. So this is the hierarchy. Now let us understand this further with a lamp analogy. So say for example, you switch on a tube light or a lamp, okay, and it glows, right? But look at this. The wire inside the lamp determines the current flow. That particular lamp will have only certain amount of current, which is called as the trait. The switch controls how the current passes. The switch is the controller, which is basically your attitude. The reason for switching on decides the duration. The bulb decides the brightness. The light is what we see in the room. So see for example, the light is what we see in the room is the outcome, and depending on the time of the day, the length of outcome will remain. So wires are the traits, switch is the attitude and mindset. Reason to switch on is basically the motives and values. Bulb is basically the competency and skills, something you can show off. Light is behavior and performance. I hope you got some clarity with this. So common school level mistakes, what we actually do is schools often go wrong by training behavior instead of skills. Actually, what happens is many people say that you can train somebody on their behavior, uh, but it's not the case. If they are behaving based on your training in a certain fashion, it is more like mandate. Oh my god, my principal has told this, I need to do this. It's coming consciously and not really subconsciously. So you can't train the behavior. it comes with years of experience. But this particular training can help you to gain the experience to change that whatever the principal is saying as a behavior. So it's not wrong. It's not right as well. So what is the focus? Something like that. Appraising traits instead of performance. Now, performance is an outcome which can keep changing. What really needs to be praised is the traits, the character. Blaming attitude instead of understanding the motive. So there must be some problem. Take everything. Expecting uniform results from diverse teachers. These are some of the school level mistakes. When we correct the wrong layer, improvement doesn't sustain. So whenever we talk about any training program, it starts from the bottom layer of behavior and performance and then goes to competencies and skills, which leads to motives and values, leading to attitude and finally the trait. Let's come to the last part of the session. So, right use of psychometric analysis is basically for self awareness, reflection, role alignment, professional growth planning, but not for labeling, punishment, or ranking the teachers. That's it. That's it. Let me stop sharing the screen and talk about it for a few minutes, and then we'll conclude on this. So, when we talk about psychometric analysis teachers, first of all, what you could do is to understand yourself, you can go to ChatGPT, which we are going to do right now. Tell ChatGPT that I am so and so teacher. I would like to get a brief psychometric analysis done to understand my traits and attitudes and all these things. We can mention about it. This school has got so and so policy, and I would like to be the best performer. Give me 5 questions or 10 questions or some number of questions to give near to accurate results so that I improve myself based on my psychometric analysis. Now look at this. So for that, what we're going to do is I am going to go back to today. I'll be sharing the slides, the presentation as well. Okay. So here in this case, I hope you're able to see the screen. No? Come on. Okay. Okay. Now you can, so whatever is coming out of ChatGPT is not right, by the way. Okay. Don't get carried away with that as the final result, but it can give you a simple understanding of how such analysis could be done right now for yourself. You're not able to see. You will be able to see in 3, 2, and I hope it is visible now. Yes, it should be. So look at the prompt I'm giving. Okay. Hey, Chat GPT. Okay. I am a teacher of a school from Bangalore. See, I'm giving as many details as possible. I'm not mentioning the school name right now, but if you want, you can mention that as well. I teach social studies, especially the topic of history. I do that. Okay. I would like to get a small psychometric analysis done to test myself on my traits as a social studies teacher here. Consider, then we go to our presentation. Okay, we go to our presentation and I copy this. Okay, Control C. I go over here, consider, okay, trains the above, consider the above hierarchy for you to test me and provide me the result based on this. Okay, something like that. Give me a simple understanding on who am I and what I need to be. See, we're doing it live right now. I'm not sure how the outcome is going to be. I tried multiple times. It works very well. Let us see. Let us see. Let us see. I'm giving the prompt and now it will come out with. That's a thoughtful request and a very reflective one. I'll keep this simple, practical, and teacher friendly, not clinical or jargon heavy. Very good. A short self assessment, psychometric style, how to score and read your profile, a clear answer to who am I as a history teacher and what do I need to become. So, part one is self assessment. We need to mention 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 5 is strongly agree. Okay, so first is traits, your natural tendencies. Second is attitudes and mindsets. Third is motives and values. Uh, Competencies and skills, behavior and performance. And there are questions. Part two is scoring and understanding your profile. Calculate the section wise scores. Each section has 5 statements, maximum per section 25. So 21 to 25, very strong history teacher. 16 to 20, strong. 11 to 15, developing. And less than 10, needs attention. Nice, no? So what each section means. So traits means your natural teaching personality. Attitudes is about that, and then interpretation. They have given some, understanding, and they've completely given who you are. Blah blah blah. Shall we do this? Shall we do this right now? And how many questions are there? So there were 25 questions. So what I am going to do is they have given 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? I'm not reading the question, teachers. I'm not reading the question for time purpose. So question number one, I answer one. Question number two, I answer two. Question number three, I answer, say, five. Question number four, I'm randomly doing it. Okay. Question number five, let us answer four. Question number six, if you do this religiously, you'll definitely get a very good outcome. Three. Question number seven, 5. Question number 8, 5. Question number 9, 4. Question number 10, what is the answer? Let us go with 3. I don't know. Question number 11, say 4. Question number 12, say 5. Question number 13, say 4. And question number 14, say 5. And question number 15, last question, 5. Now let us enter the results and let us see what is the outcome. Excellent. Thank you for answering honestly. You have responded to statements 1 to 15, which covers 333. Traits, question 1 to 5. Your response total 16 out of 25. I'm a strong history teacher, but uneven. You're emotionally steady. Question 3 equal to 5 and reflective. So it's giving a detailed understanding of your trait. So psychometric test is you're not a naturally expressive or dramatic history teacher, but a thoughtful, composed, and a mature one. You think before you speak. You don't perform history. You reason through it. Okay. I need to improve, I guess. Attitudes and mindset. Oh, my score is 20 out of 25 over here. Okay, my level is strong again. And then motives and values. My God. So it's very strong. Okay, something like that. You deeply value accuracy, ethics, responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Overall psychometric profile so far. Your current identity as a history teacher. I'm a calm, principled, and reflective history teacher who values accuracy, ethics, and citizenship more than performance or showmanship. Not dramatic but deep, not loud but firm, not exam obsessed but meaning oriented. The most important gap identified. This is very important. Your values are stronger than your natural expressiveness. This means you know why history matters. You believe in critical thinking. This is not a weakness, it's a development point. But you may underplay storytelling, emotional hooks, or curiosity triggers. That's why social studies is boring in my class. Something like that. So your growth direction is not becoming more entertaining, it's like your growth direction is structured thinking designer, question architect, historical reasoning coach. Nice, no? In my last history lesson, did my questions force students to think or only to listen? So this you can ask after every period in the next, and they have given the next step as well. That's it. I really love ChatGPT for such kind of activities where you can actually get into the details of what you are and how to identify through, giving the right prompt. So let me stop sharing the screen, teachers, and talk about conclusion of psychometric analysis. So you don't have to wait for any particular website. You don't have to wait for any particular person to come and test you. If you're really open enough to, agree that there are a lot of things to be learned around and know about, I would request you to use ChatGPT in the right manner, or probably Grok for that matter, any AI tool for that matter. Give the right prompt, it'll be able to test you, you can answer, and you can find out your character trait. But what's really important is understanding your psychometric analysis. More than that, it's like how it is actually built on. Then talking to students becomes more interesting. Thank you so much, teachers. Great interacting one with one and all. One of the, one of those difficult topics that we have taken in a Super Sunday workshop is definitely psychometric analysis. The ambiguities are so much with multiple websites. Even ChatGPT's result are not 100% accurate, and there were multiple bodies like Nimhan's hospital at Bangalore. We spoke to certain clinical psychologists and understood that the accuracy rates are actually very less. So it's completely fine that if it's saying something, don't really get carried away with rejection or appreciation. You're like, oh wow, I'm the right teacher. No. But weekly ones, having a psychometric test done through AI tools can give you 1 year of result. Broad character of yourself can be identified, and you can understand what is the direction towards which you should move. Thank you so much, teachers. Great interacting with one and all. I would like to meet you again in the next Super Sunday workshop with another interesting, relevant education topic. Keep joining, keep learning. A passive listening of approximately 10 minutes can yield you lifetime's confidence for that week at least. You will not spend separate time in opening a notebook or a book to study about something called a psychometric analysis in your busy schedule. Teaching job in a school like the current scenario in 2025 is nothing less than a corporate job. Even though you come back home to probably talk to your family members, your thoughts still remain at school. What should I teach tomorrow? I got a difficult parent to handle. So, in that process of administration, do you really think that you'll be able to upgrade yourself? Very rare, very difficult. Hence, one consistency could, change the way you look at yourself as a teacher. So, Super Sunday could be one of them. That's it. So, I'm sharing the presentation on the chat to everyone, teachers. So, what is the topic today? Psychometric analysis. You'll be able to see the screen in three, two. Oh, yeah, done. I think you're able to see the chat. You're right. You're right, Supira ma'am. Thank you so much, teachers. Minu ma'am, thank you so much. Good to see you for such a long time, ma'am. Shri Kumari ma'am, thank you. Nisha ma'am, good to see you. Devasmita ma'am, thank you. Thank you, Rupali ma'am. Parna ma'am, good to see you. Thank you so much. Deva Manogari ma'am, thank you. Okay, I'll share the presentation on WhatsApp group and Telegram group as well. Let me do that right away. Thank you so much, Runa ma'am. Good to see you, ma'am. Thank you. Here we go. I'm going to the Super Sunday group. Dropped over there. I'll do that in Telegram as well in a few minutes. Thank you, Ritu ma'am. Thank you, Tessin ma'am, Asha ma'am. Thank you so much. Sunita ma'am, Lavanya ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bhavna ma'am. Thank you. Fatima ma'am. Thank you. Yes, yes, Deepthi ma'am. The last session's part is also present in the presentation. Yes. Thank you, Anushila ma'am. Last time there were some feedbacks on why are we not showing the YouTube videos of some really good videos of good websites. Well, we are not allowed to, it seems, because those are like external videos and we are getting copyright strikes that you're using our video in your session. So I stopped using it. That's the reason. Very sorry for that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kiran ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Shabana ma'am, Kokila ma'am. Happy Pongal. Happy Sankranti. Thank you so much, Ankita ma'am, Girija ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sudha ma'am. Thank you for the recognition. Ankita ma'am, Nitya ma'am, thank you. Chalo, let's close. You'll get the certificate, ma'am. Keep disturbing Rajesh. Thank you, Gracie ma'am. Thank you, Ramasubramaniam sir. Thank you so much. Great interacting with you the last time. Thank you, Rama ma'am. Nirmala ma'am, thank you so much. Yeah, will be conveyed. The wishes will be conveyed to the team members as well. Yes, Jayanti ma'am. The presentation is shared. Thank you, Jerusha ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shaila ma'am. Uh, It will, ma'am. Just wait for some time because many people are clicking on the link, maybe because of that. Yeah. Jayanti, ma'am, you got the links. No problem. Save my number. Message me. I'll save your number so that you can see my WhatsApp status. Thank you so much, teachers. Great interacting with one and all. It's a weekend, long weekend probably for some of you because of Pongal and all. A lot of holidays coming into picture. Spend time with your family. Have a Super Sunday, teachers. I'll meet you in the next Super Sunday workshop. Until then, bye and Jai Hind.